Okay, I want you to imagine something for a second. Picture going on a camping trip with your closest friends. You pack your gear, you plan your route, and you are totally prepared for an epic adventure out in the wilderness. But none of you ever come back. Today in this explainer, we are diving headfirst into a case that has literally fascinated and honestly terrified people for over 60 years. It is without a doubt one of the world's most chilling unsolved mysteries, the Dyatlov Pass Incident. We're going to look closely at the facts, break down the timeline, and try to wrap our heads around exactly what happened back in 1959 to a group of 9 hikers, led by a guy named Igor Dyatlov, way up in the freezing, desolate Ural Mountains. So right off the bat, the absolute crucial and arguably the most terrifying detail of this entire mystery is this. The hiker's tent was cut open from the inside. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. This wasn't a bear attack. It wasn't some external threat trying to slash its way in. The hikers themselves were the ones doing the cutting. Think about the sheer unimaginable panic that must have been going down inside that cramped little tent. They didn't even take the time to unlace the front flaps. They were so utterly desperate to escape whatever was happening in there that they literally destroyed their only shelter, slicing right through the heavy canvas and sprinting out into the deadly freezing night. Like, what could possibly terrify a group of people so much that plunging into negative 25-degree temperatures, totally exposed, felt like the safer option?
Section 1. The Doomed Expedition.
Okay, let's back up and look at the timeline. It's early 1959, and a group of 9 highly experienced hikers, mostly students and grads from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, set off on this insanely grueling ski trip. They were trekking deep into the unforgiving, freezing environment of the northern Ural Mountains in the former Soviet Union. And their specific destination? A peak known by the local indigenous people as Halat Syakhl, which ominously translates to Dead Mountain. Yeah, definitely sets a mood. It was a massive physical undertaking that required just immense stamina. But then, the days ticked by. Their scheduled return date came and went. A telegram they were supposed to send never arrived. Just total silence. It actually took weeks of searching through some of the most treacherous terrain imaginable before rescue teams finally located their abandoned camp. And let me tell you, absolutely no one expected this routine expedition to turn into such a monumental mystery. And this brings us to the central paradox of the whole case. It is so important to remember that these 9 individuals, they weren't amateurs. They didn't just wander into the woods unprepared. They were actually seeking grade 3 certification, which was literally the highest possible level of mountaineering certification you could get in the Soviet Union at the time. To get it, you had to traverse over 300 kilometers of extreme winter landscape. They were meticulously trained for brutal sub-zero conditions. They knew winter survival inside and out. And yet, the evidence points to a desperate, completely chaotic escape. They flood their tent directly into a lethal environment. It completely defies all survival logic. Why on earth would seasoned winter experts willingly abandon their primary source of shelter in such a disorganized, fatal way? Section 2. A chilling discovery. Let's move on and see how the evidence builds, because what the rescuers found painted a deeply unsettling picture, one that still baffles forensic experts today. When the search party finally found the tent, it was half collapsed, buried in snow, and, as we said, slashed from the inside. But here's where it gets even more confusing. The hikers had left almost all of their warm clothes, their heavy boots, their survival gear, just perfectly arranged inside the tent. They literally ran out into a deadly winter blizzard in just their socks, or in some cases, completely barefoot. Following the footprints, rescuers found the first bodies near the tree line next to the remains of a tiny makeshift fire. And some were drastically underdressed for the weather. Now, scientists call this paradoxical undressing. It's a strange thing that can happen when your brain basically misfires during extreme terminal hypothermia. But it gets worse. As the search expanded over the next couple of months, they found the remaining hikers buried under 13 feet of snow in a ravine. Some of these individuals had inexplicable, severe internal injuries. We're talking crushed ribs and major skull fractures. The medical examiner actually likened the blunt force trauma to the impact of being struck by a high-speed car. Yet, incredibly, there was zero external soft tissue damage.
Section 3. Exploring the theories. So what on earth actually happened? Because this case is just so sensational, and the injuries are so incredibly bizarre, it's fueled decades of intense speculation. A lot of this naturally falls into the realm of wild internet rumors and conspiracy theories. You've got people suggesting everything from secret military testing of acoustic weapons to hostile encounters, or even cryptozoological stuff like Yetis. And while that's fascinating for sure, those theories contain absolutely no proven facts. So taking a more grounded approach, we have to look at natural forces. Some researchers have suggested highly unusual weather patterns, like extreme katabatic winds. Basically, imagine a heavy, freezing avalanche of air just battering the tent, driving them out in a total panic. But today, a lot of modern experts point to a very specific, rare natural event, a slab avalanche. Using advanced computer models, researchers show that when the hikers cut into the snowy slope to pitch their tent, they unknowingly destabilized the snowpack. Hours later, combined with fierce winds, a solid block of dense, concrete-like snow silently broke loose and just crushed the tent in the dark. This sudden, heavy impact would actually perfectly explain those severe internal car crash-like injuries and why they absolutely had to cut their way out immediately, without even grabbing their boots or coats.
Section 4. An unsolved mystery. So, I leave you with this question to chew on. Has the Dyatlov Pass mystery finally been solved by modern science, or is there still something we just don't know? Look, the slab avalanche theory provides a super compelling physics-based explanation for both the brutal injuries and that sudden panicked evacuation. But for a lot of people, it still struggles to explain some of the more eccentric, lingering details of the scene. Things like the trace amounts of radiation found on a few pieces of their clothing, or the deeply strange behavior observed down at the tree line. You have to weigh the solid facts of their extensive winter training against the sheer chaos of their escape. Consider the modern expert consensus of a freak avalanche versus the bizarre, scattered nature of the crime scene. So, what is your verdict? Keep analyzing those facts, keep questioning the evidence, and hey, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.